So I have this marking gauge. It's an acceptable marking gauge. I like it because I made it, but I think I can make a better marking gauge. Recently, I found an Amazon listing for 30 marking knives, and they're fine. What we're going to do is take the blade off of one of these marking knives and make our new marking gauge. We will now search through the wood scraps for what will become our marking gauge. Don't know if we're going to use a pre-made dowel or if we will make a dowel. Maybe. Okay, so this is Sapele. This is Padauk. And this is Hickory. Not making anything I want to interact with regularly out of Hickory. This is probably going to chip out way too much, but we can try it. This piece of Sapele is probably our best bet. And then I also have a piece of red oak somewhere around here. It could be used, but I think this piece of Sapele is going to be the goal. A little bench hook that could. I think we will make a new bench hook before the day is done. Okay, so we've got our piece all squared up. Now we need to figure out what we actually want it to look like. This style of marking gauge is more of a European thing or a Western thing. And it uses the chin to reference off whatever you're doing. With Eastern marking gauges, they have a much longer front and use that space to reference whatever it is they're doing. And I think maybe we will make something in that vein with this piece, just so we have a little representation of both sides. We'll say, I didn't expect to be a fan of Eastern woodworking as much as I am, but the Japanese saws, though I do want to mention that these planes and these handsaws get referred to as Japanese tools, and to be fair, both of these tools were made in Japan. But this thought process of woodworking and this methodology is an Eastern thing overall. I think people sometimes forget that China is thousands and thousands of years old, and so is everywhere else, but China had and has one of the longest histories of any nation, one of the longest stable and developed histories. Now we define what our border zones. think we're gonna cut this tail off and then inset the blade here. I think that's gonna be our best bet. So let's draw some lines. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do is going to take a piece of all thread and make a knob for the top of this. And we're going to shape the body. But it's functional. It does the thing. I don't know. So we are going to go with sloping away from the top here. We have a rough knob, a rough body. Ooh. Oil is zero. Now we have a marking gauge that we didn't have before. I may or may not wind up shortening the arm. I probably will, but I'm going to try it for a couple of days at this length, see how it goes. But let's try it out. So I think this might be too sharp. Might round over the tip of our marking knife to see how that goes. As it stands, it's digging in a lot and pulling the whole thing down. There we go. That's excellent. I am happy with that. You know, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but I think it looks pretty good. I'm happy with this. That was a fun afternoon project. I think it took us, what, an hour, maybe two? Fantastic.